Hello and welcome to Confessions of a Movie Snob. I am your host for this evening, Ethan. Or I am Ethan, your host for this evening. However you want to get to that. Well, today we are going to be talking a bit about Captain America, the First Avenger, the 2011 release. Really, it's not a huge blockbuster, I suppose, but it's directed by Joe Johnston, starring Chris Evans, Hugo Weaving, and of course it's got Samuel L. Jackson in it. The movie clocks in at just over 120 minutes, at 124 minutes. I should note that Joe Johnston is the guy who brought us one of my favorite movies of all time, The Rocketeer, way back when, about 20 years ago. 10 ago. This movie is, of course, the second Marvel Comics movie, Marvel Studios movie that has come out. First being Thor, that has come out this year. First being Thor, and this one, of course, being Captain America. These are the two movies that are the prelude to the Avengers, which is due out next year. Now, this movie was released on July 22nd, 2011. Is actually coming out very shortly in October on DVD. I'm very excited to get the Blu-ray, personally. But Captain America tells the story of Steve Rogers, and the movie does a great job of sticking to pretty darn close to the origin story of the comic books. Granted that his origin story in the comic books was written back in the 40s, and so it's not exactly, easy to translate. But it is a period movie. It's set in the 1940s, which is a bit unique with these other Marvel Comics movies. As with the Marvel Comics characters like Iron Man and Thor, those guys came around in the 60s. And so obviously those movies weren't period films set in the 60s. This one, however, Captain America, you really can't do Captain America without setting him in, without having him based in World War II. I mean, it's such an integral part of his character. Let me go ahead and just get it out of the way. I loved this movie. I'm a big fan of movies like Indiana Jones and The Rocketeer, and really any movie where you have Nazis as the bad guys, because who doesn't like beating the crap out of Nazis? Granted, in this movie, it's more Hydra agents than it is Nazis, but you know what? They're Nazis. Hugo Weaving, I think, does an absolutely great job in this movie pulling off Red Skull. The makeup on him is absolutely fantastic. It does not look bad, does not look hokey at all. And being that I'm a big fan of good actors, Hugo Weaving has a German accent throughout this movie, keeps it throughout this movie, and it sounds good throughout this movie. One of my biggest headaches from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's a movie I actually enjoyed, was Cate Blanchett. Fantastic actress, we all know. She's Academy Award nominated. Just an amazing, amazing actress. However, she couldn't keep a Russian accent to save her damn life in that movie. This movie sort of shows me that if you have good actors, they can hammer it down, and this is evidence of that. Chris Evans pulls off a really good Captain America. He does a great job as Steve Rogers. The job they had with him as the little scrawny Steve Rogers is still mind-boggling because he looks so bloody tiny. I'm sure they did that digitally. I know I could look all this stuff up, but I would prefer to wait for the Blu-ray release and get all this information right there while I'm digesting all of this cool content, because I love that stuff. But Captain America is tons of fun. They have a great time introducing the classic elements. There's the Howling Commandos. However, obviously they can't have Sergeant Fury's Howling Commandos because Nick Fury is a black man in black general now, I guess. I think he's a general in the when he's shown up as head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the sort of interspersed throughout the other Marvel Studios movies. This movie does a good job of really operating within the element of the 1940s. It looks great. It looks really, really wonderful as far as looking like a period film, and they just managed to really pull it off. I think it's got a good, fun story. It's still firmly established, firmly rooted in the Marvel comic, and really feels like it goes with the rest of these movies. There's some great payoffs at the end. Probably my only problem I had with the movie was how they got rid of Bucky. Bucky dies in the movie as he dies in the comic books. Not really the same way in the movie as he does in the comics, mind you. But in it just sort of happens in the comic or in the movie, and it is a little too fast for me. You didn't really have a lot of time to share that connection. The Howling Commandos are really cool. They sort of start weaving in there this they are the A team of World War II type of business, which is kind of nice. Uh, Again, I got to go back to Chris Evans really pulling it off, really doing a great job as Steve Rogers, as Captain America. Um, I'm excited to see him in the Avengers. Of course, at the end of this movie, they find him, thaw him out, and they set you up for the Avengers movie. At the end of the movie, in the credits, of course, there is the Avengers sneak trailer, which just looks really good. I'm excited to see that movie, and this movie is by far the. I'm really tempted to rank it above Harry Potter, just in fun factor and just popcorn goodness. It's just obviously it's obviously not a deep intellectual Academy Award nominated movie that's going to be out there, but it is really good. So I highly recommend that you go check it out. It is Captain America, the First Avenger, Captain America. It's tons of fun. Love it.